Carol, tell me about your organization, Jewish Home Family, and a little more about your board.
Sure. Jewish Home Family is actually a 100-plus-year-old organization. It started, as so many organizations of our tenure have, as a home for orphans in Jersey City, New Jersey, and eventually began to take in disadvantaged women and then migrated to being a long-term care services provider. Somewhere in the early 90s, there was a recognition on the part of the organization that Jersey City was not the place to be, that the population we were serving was largely shifting to northern Bergen County. So they began to look for a place to locate in northern Bergen County, which eventually happened in 2001. So we opened the Jewish Home at Rockley, which is a 180-bed long-term and rehab facility in northern Bergen County, 300 yards from the New York State border. And then about 11 years ago, opened assisted living, and about 8 years ago, built a home and community-based services organization. And of course, we have an independent foundation. What has been very interesting for me in my 3.5 years is a recognition that as each of these entities came online, a new board was created. And there is tremendous duplication among the boards. There are 84 board members that we are dealing with. And one of the first things that I said early on was, we need to look at governance and really create something that is much more contemporary in terms of governance, because, first of all, 84 board members is impossible. Second of all, we have 4 board meetings in close proximity. At the 4th board meeting, I want to say to someone who's been at all of the meetings, would you like to give this report? Because you've heard it so many times, right. It's just too much. And it makes it very difficult to get things done. We don't have term limits. So we have people who are legacy members of the board for whom evening meetings are difficult, or who really don't attend meetings anymore. And when you're doing important things that require a quorum, it's difficult to get a quorum. So to their credit, the board has taken this on and said, we have to find a way to work through this process and have a governance initiative. But it's an interesting thing, I think, and it's a lesson in governance, is that these things are so emotional and so political. And you love the fact that there's such a strong feeling about being a part of the organization, and yet you also have to be able to let go a little bit as a board member to allow the organization to progress. And when you couple that with the fact that we're in the middle of a $30 million capital campaign, the complexity is really quite challenging.
So what advice would you have for other leading age members who are also in a time of transition? I know that there many are. And what would you recommend that how they proceed?
That's a good question. I think that we have to proceed with care and thoughtfulness, and that if we finesse things, we can find a role for everyone. We can create structures that allow everyone to still be engaged and feel connected without necessarily sitting on the board. And I think it's critically important for us to continue to help our boards reshape themselves, because let's face it, the world is changing so fast. And if we're not nimble, we will be hung up in things that cause us to miss opportunities, that cause us to make poor decisions. So I think we have to be courageous, we have to be thoughtful, we have to be cognizant of people's emotions and feelings. And I think if we do all of those things, which we're quite capable of doing, we can come up with the right solution that will provide us with improved governance that meets today's needs and maintains the commitment of all those critically important people.